Hello, this is Natalie Peters with Brown & Brown Insurance. As many of you know, I am going to be posting monthly videos, and today I am introducing a new team member to Brown & Brown Insurance, Haley Pinnell. Today we are going to talk about fire safety. We are right in the middle of fire season, and Haley has some wonderful experiences that she can talk about. She actually came to Brown & Brown. Her previous job was a claims adjuster, so she has a lot of hands-on experience dealing with fire claims and fire safety issues. She has moved over to the production side so she can help clients avoid big gaps in their coverage because she has seen worst case scenarios. So Haley, would you mind telling us a little bit about some of the claims that you've seen and what some of our clients can do to help mitigate some of those risks?
Absolutely. So I wanted to give just a couple examples of two claims where the customer actually lacked some coverage, and they're pretty common causes of loss as well. So the first claim that I had was a weed torch, which is a propane torch that a lot of my clients use to kill weeds instead of chemicals, and that's very common in Washington. Mm-hmm. And this was something that the fire department said actually happens a lot more than people think. The weed torch, if you're using it on gravel, the gravel can actually have some minerals in it, and it can ignite the minerals. And if you're doing it close to any of your structures, that can cause a fire to lead up to the structure and then burn the wood or trim or whatever the case is. And in this instance, it was a detached garage in which the detached garage was not properly insured because it's typically it's just automatically set to about 10% of the limit. So
the dwelling limit.
Yep. So, and the customer didn't know. It was a big 3 or 4 car garage. So this weed torch, they had a landscaper come in. The weed torch caught the garage on fire, and they left and didn't realize that it was happening because it took a few hours for the fire to lead to the garage. And it burned down a large portion of the garage and then a lot of the contents inside, and it was not insured properly. So I think he ended up only getting $10,000 or $15,000 for this giant garage. So that was really sad.
Yeah, that's terrible. How much was the actual loss, would you say?
The quote that we got on the garage was probably $70,000 just for the structure, rebuilding of the structure.
So you're looking at a $60,000 plus out-of-pocket expense for the insured because the contract wasn't written appropriately. So Haley brought up a really good point. That main dwelling limit, so it could be 300,000, 500,000. It's that coverage A limit, that primary number on your declarations. That is almost always converted into the other lines of insurance. So specifically other structures, that pertains to any outbuildings, garages, and it's almost always 10%. Very rarely is it anything above that. So you're looking at, for a $300,000 house, $30,000, $500,000 house, $50,000. So you want to watch those numbers, and if you do remodels or additions, you've got to let your insurance agent know.
Yeah, and I think on this one in particular, he had built the garage, he had moved into the house, gotten his homeowner's insurance, and then built this detached garage for his shop or whatever the case was, and never told his agent about it. So
talk to your agent. Talk to your agent and tell them what's happening. Haley, if you wouldn't mind, would you tell us maybe one other claim story surrounding fire safety issues?
Yes. So the other big one are grease fires. So cooking, and I've had lots of little old ladies set their houses on fire with grease fires, and luckily they've all been safe, but it can be a really problematic coverage issue because the grease fire, you're able to put it out pretty quickly as long as you don't throw water on it.
Right.
However, the smoke will damage everything. So if you don't have proper limits on the structure and your personal property, because that's huge. A lot of personal property, it can be cleaned, but anything that's a textile, it's really hard to get that grease smell out of
that
it.
protein smell even. I know sometimes if you're burning chicken or beef or something like that, that burnt protein smell will saturate.
And any plastic, if any plastic melts, then it can get up in the air and it'll start sticking to things. So with a grease fire, it's not just the pan that you burn or the stove that you damage, it's the entire house most of the time, because you have to clean all of the walls, the ceilings, you have to most likely paint all of the walls and ceilings, possibly clean or replace all of the cabinets depending on how thick that smoke is and how quickly you're able to get it put out. So the main issue is typically that personal property coverage, because if it's not insured properly, then all of the cleaning and the replacement is most likely going to exceed the cost that you already have allotted for replacing your personal property.
And really quickly to touch on what Haley just said, so your personal contents is under coverage C. It's usually the third limit down when you're looking at your home insurance declarations. Once again, that's a percentage of the overall dwelling limit. So if you're looking at $300,000 limit, typically contents is 50%, so $150,000. Sounds like a lot of money, sounds like you'll never go through it in a million years. You would be surprised how quick those things add up. You're looking at replacement cost in a situation like that. So brand new items, not to mention if the dwelling's underinsured, then there could be additional costs.
And the cleaning, I mean, packing, if you have a smoke loss and you're having to paint your entire house now and clean everything out, the company is going to come in and they're going to pack everything out and individually box everything, individually inventory everything, and then take it to the shop, clean it there, and then repack everything and bring it back. And then anything that was not cleanable, you'd have to replace. So that is a ton of, those are $40,000-$50,000 cleaning bills. So
a lot of times agents forget to talk about those situations. I know for me, this example is really helpful because we're not looking at the, shipping and packing and cleaning and bringing it all back, but that's probably the most common.
Yep, and you're
thing
mainly just thinking of what's it going to cost for me to replace these things.
Right.
And that can also change with time. TVs get less expensive and other items get significantly more expensive because of the higher quality of tables or refinishing of furniture, all of that kind of thing. So
well, and if you're dealing with any antiques, expensive electronics, computers, there can be sublimits on your home insurance policies, dealing specifically with computers. So you just want to make sure that you understand the limitations of your policy, understand what's covered, what's not, and how much coverage you have. I think that will wrap up today, but once again, we want to educate our clients. We want to make sure everybody understands their policies, and I want to welcome Haley to the team. As you can see, knowledgeable. We're so excited to have her. She will be working in our commercial department, so any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Natalie Peters with Brown & Brown. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful summer.